and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Stewart Francis. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the Prime Minister, David Cameron. But what does CABS stand for?
Is it country's arms budget shrunk? And you just sort of stand in front of the Taliban and go bang, bang.
It's his ultimate fantasy. It's caviar and Beyonce shaven.
Is he playing a game he used to play as a kid? It's actually CABs. It's a game he used to play as a child. Cowboys and butlers. Audio.
Is it Clegg? Another bacon sandwich.
Is it child, adultery, Boris, shit?
Is it Cameron attempts black solidarity?
Is it taxi? No, cabs.
I'm so stupid. It is ultimate. He's actually pointing at a lady in the street, cracking arse, boobs, satisfactory.
Is it charmless aristocrat buggers society?
Is it...
That's right, that's it.
That was such a lovely response. That sounds like something we should clap at.
Is it conceited, arrogant, boring shitehawk?
It's still there. Shitehawk is an excellent word.
That's a great word. Is that an Irish thing?
It's a very Irish word, yes. You may have it as a gift.
Does it actually exist?
It does, yeah, shitehawk.
There's such a thing as a shitehawk?
No, there isn't an actual bird called a shitehawk.
Amazing episode of Springwatch if you shot one.
Please correct answer if we could.
I think it's Cameron announces big society, Dara.
Well done, Hugh. Thank you very much. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Cameron announces big society. This is a story that Prime Minister David Cameron has formally launched his Big Society Manifesto pledge, which he claims will put the oomph back into communities. Speaking in Liverpool, Cameron confirmed that the Big Society would empower communities, allowing them to run libraries and post offices, manage transport services and shape housing projects. How is he planning on liberating society?
Say oomph. That's not even a word. And he wants to put oomph back in communities. Yeah. Yes, I'd like to make hospitals a bit more ha-cha-cha-cha. I'm afraid the whole schools building programme was wah, 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 wah.
I think a government entirely done by sound effect would be great. Yes, I will be coming to a place near you. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop.
But in fact, the weird thing about it is that the Conservatives are all about choice, and yet they're only offering one size of society.
Do you want to go large? But the thing is, people don't want to work for free, do they? Nobody... Like, he needs to dangle some form of carrot. Like, if you volunteer, every one of you can kick Jeremy Kyle in the nads. Sweet, I'll do that. If you volunteer, I'll make a TV show that's just Kelly Brook jumping up and down on a trampoline. Sweet, we'll do that. And if you work really hard, I'll kill the Go Compare man. That's what we need. Some form of incentive to make us work.
I guess phrase like empowering. Empowering is the kind of phrase, you know, 19-year-old models use when they appear in the zoo. Like, it's kind of, oh, I feel very empowered by my ability to get me norks out.
They never say it like that.
They don't quite use norks and empowering in the same sentence, but it's the same rhetorical flourish that they use, like whatever. But it is just basically, listen, we can't afford it, we don't want to get involved in this, let's give it some busybodies in your area to start narking.
But don't give it to us. Don't make us run it. Have you met us? We're idiots. We don't believe we're idiots. We accidentally voted in a Tory government. That is genuinely idiotic.
But Chris is totally right. You can't trust us. You know, we're you know, the British public are odd, aren't we? Like, I sometimes pick up a Coke can in Tesco for no reason, shake it, and then put it back. Don't give me any responsibility.
I'm not really sure what the parallel is there. If I left you run a school, would you just walk in every so often and pick up one of the children and go...
I mean, if he's so keen on volunteering, how come he gets paid 180 grand a year? Why doesn't he give his services for free? I'd quite happily do that job for no money, because I've heard the expenses are quite tidy.
I think we're all in this together. That's what's so difficult to listen to. You've got this multi-millionaire going, we're all in this together. Cameron, comparing his plight to that of the British people, is like me stubbing my toe and going, I feel just like Heather Mills. There is...
Do you find stubbing your toe makes you want to rip off a beetle?
Cameron, basically, he was going on about, wasn't he, about this village pub, that they'd enabled it to keep it open. And you're thinking, keeping open a village pub, that's not the big society, that's a lock-in.
In a way, is that rolling back the state? I wasn't aware that the state ran rural pubs. I didn't think there was a... If there was a state-run pub, you would not go in it. Barman number 5, please.
Do you know how he's funding this, though?
How is
the fascinating thing about how he's funding it is that he started this thing, which is the most childish thing you could ever imagine, called the Big Society Bank, which sounds like it should be in Balamory or something. It's the Big Society Bank. Apparently, the government owns all the money in bank accounts if they've been dormant for 15 years, which is extraordinary, because do they own everything that's been dormant for 15 years? Like Kerry Katona's brain, Emil Heskey's right foot, and almost the whole of Anne Widdecombe.
It's not essentially, he wants to pay for it using the money of the dead. Like a financial zombie army will sweep across, opening post office. We sure get a stamp.
Surely, Dara, the thing is, what if someone's been in a coma? Imagine that, right? You haven't used your bank account for 15 years. You wake up, you're like, oh, where's my money? He spends it on a knitting museum in Cumbria. And he's like, oh, well, at least I can watch Friday Night with Jonathan Ross.
In other news, what's going on here?
This is Cameron and Obama having a chat. And Obama's just saying to him, you call me Soul Man one more time, white boy.
Is it what happening is Obama's going, thank goodness you've arrived. I've had around 30 calls from a Mr. Clegg going, I can't find the keys to number 10.
Is it not just going, so, David, I understand your ancestors made their fortune in cotton and sugar?
I was just wondering if Cameron was explaining to Obama how his upbringing has prepared him for dealing with the oil spill. Well, we make a mess, and then the black chap cleans it up.
Is it Cameron and Barack smooch? Are we still playing that game?
No, we've moved on. No, it is David Cameron meeting President Obama on his official 2-day visit to the US.
Yeah. Cameron said he's going to stand up to the US, and you're like, no, you're not. There's more chance of Danny Dyer being the new host of QI.
It is worth noting, by the way, that under the new Big Society initiative, we have to run all the post offices, but he's still the one who gets to go to America and meet Obama. I don't see his committee members from Liverpool who are running the local libraries going, oh, great, we get to go to America. Oh, great, Big Society.
Maybe that would be a good idea, though, because actually the problem with standing up to America is we keep sending posh people. Maybe we should actually be sending people from Scouse estates where we're not really happy about the Almagrahi thing. Oh, are you not? Come here, then. Let's take it outside. Come on, then, big lad. You're not happy. Let's go.
It's just a scheduled visit, isn't it? There's nothing particularly special about this visit. But the problem for Cameron is the BP are apparently involved in the release of Almagrahi by the Scottish government.
Let's take the word allegedly into there. BP, I'd imagine, have 1 or 2 lawyers, possibly. Being something of a large corporation.
And they're slick lawyers.
Yeah.
The American government...
I imagine the latest BP spillage is their lawyer going...
It's really funny, because Cameron said that the release of Almagrahi was nothing to do with oil, and you're like, yeah, and Mel Gibson's just a social drinker.
He went on National Public Radio, Cameron, to speak about this, and he said that Almagrahi should have died in jail. So we're pointing out he's not actually dead yet, but he should have died in jail, and that he blamed Scotland. So actually, he said BP weren't to blame, Scotland were to blame. So actually, sorry, BP is worth more to Britain than Scotland.
The two things that are overshadowing are, you know, the links between Al McGrahy's release and BP, and there's also the BP oil spill. I kind of think BP could have killed two birds with one stone if they were able to plug the oil spill with Al McGrahy. That would be it.
They're worried. Basically, what's happened is they're worried the seepage. They've done that, and now they've got to do that, and now some more's coming out over there, and they've got to do that, and it's turning into a massive game of Twister, essentially.
It's like that.
You just want the bit where they're sitting there going, we've finally done it, in their office, and you hear...
Thank God, thank God.
Cut to shot of them going...
The only way they will manage to clear up that whole coastline is if there is a similarly catastrophic event at a nearby Sillet bang rig. That's... Which could happen, because Barry Scott does shout, doesn't he? Hi, I'm... By God's sake! Explosion! Fourth time in 8 months.
I've got no sympathy for BP, though. I mean, Tony Hayward, didn't he? He said when it came to the oil spill, it was tiny in proportion to the total water volume of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I tried a similar excuse when I had a piss in a swimming pool. Didn't me no good whatsoever.
And at the end of that round, the points go to Chris, Hugh and Stewart. Now we play a round called Eamon Holmes is Hungry for Jokes. This game involves Stewart, Ed and Andy, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject is... pets. Who wants to come in on that? Ed.
Does it look like I'm being attacked by two animals? No, I have a theory, though, with pets. I have a theory. I feel that we treat animals better than we treat humans. Proof of this, we found a cat by our bins, and it looked hungry. Now it lives with us. That is proof that we treat animals better. You wouldn't do that with a person. You would go, all right, mate, you look a bit hungry. What are you doing by the bins? Do you want to come live in the house? Come live with us. Yeah, don't get a job, Ratton. We will buy you food and prepare it for you. In exchange for that, if you could just occasionally take a dump on the floor. That's it. Occasionally, just now and again, when I'm in the house on my own, if you could just jump on the back of my chair and frighten the shit out of me. Could I do that? In exchange for free bed and board. And the way it was sold to me that the cat was going to live with us was it would keep away the mice. But it doesn't keep away the mice. It doesn't. It brings mice in. Mice that live in a field near the house that had no intention of coming anywhere near the house. The cat brings in and plays with and then gets distracted. Ooh, a sunbeam. And lets him go. We have more mice in the house than we did before we got a cat. Can I put down poison for the mice? No, in case the cat eats it.
OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is sport. Who wants to come in that? Andy Parsons.
Does it look like I'm being attacked by two giant testicles? Now, Sepp Blatter, he has said he doesn't want technology in football. His reasoning being that he said he wanted the football at the highest level to be exactly the same as football at the lowest level. What a ridiculous argument that is. Surely then why bother in the World Cup to have goalposts at all? Why don't we just have jumpers? And instead of playing for 90 minutes, why don't we just play as long as possible before the kid who owns the ball wants to go home for his tea? And you wonder how well does Capello actually get on with the England players? Capello is into opera and art. How many of the England players do you think are actually into their art? The closest that Ashley Cole has come to a self-portrait is taking a photo of his knob.
Thank you very much, Andy Parsons. OK, that leaves us with Stewart. Let's see what topic we have. Let's spin the wheel. OK, the topic is leisure.
What's the deal with train spotters? I counted 27 of the losers today. My record's 41. My dad has a weird hobby. He collects empty bottles, which sounds so much better than alcoholic. want to write a mystery novel. Or do I? I've written a book about a transsexual with a speech impediment. It's titled Man or Myth. I like to go to bookstores and say to the clerk, hello, I'm looking for a book titled How to Deal with Rejection Without Killing. In my spare time, I like to fart on crowded lifts, which is wrong on so many levels.
Thank you very much, Stewart. Well done. Voice over, Stewart Francis. Everyone come back. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board of 6 categories. Chris, which category would you like?
Please, can we have health?
Okay, your category is health. The answer is 35 million a year. What is the question?
Is it how much money does the Queen get from the Royal Mail for being the face of stamps?
How many times a year does Katie Holmes think to herself, if I just make a run for it?
Is it? If you were the man who ate all the pies, how many pies would you be eating?
How often does the Scottish Justice Minister phone Al McGrahy's mobile hoping he doesn't pick up?
Is it how many times Dara Googles himself? And when I say Google, I mean masturbate.
How much would the UK government make if they pimped out Robert Pattinson?
Just from that lady?
When you say pimped him out, you mean put, like, big rims on him?
No, we could do that, or we could just put him in a bus and let girls, such as the lady that cheered then, pay up to £100 to do what you want with him.
If you let me pay £100 to do what I want with him, that would be the end of him.
Talking about rims.
I think the trick is to let me go last.
Is it how much would it cost you if you stayed on a BT helpline long enough to get an answer to your fucking question?
Any was the correct answer?
It's about sick days, isn't
It is about sick days, yes.
It's how many sick days a year do the British population take?
That's absolutely right. Well done. Thank you very much, Hugh. Yes, and the question I was looking for was how many fake sick days do British workers take each year? According to a survey, Brits pull 35 million sickies every year, which is more than any other European country and accounts for over a quarter of the 122 million sick days taken across Europe.
To be honest, our football team took a month off in South Africa. Everyone's doing it.
35 million. That makes me sick. Can I go home?
Yeah, you can go home.
But
That's
you hear
right.
about somebody saying to you guys yesterday in the office. You weren't there, Dara, but what I was saying to the other guys.
Well, I had a very heavy cold. Some of the summer things that's going around at the moment.
It's very difficult to feign a sick day, because you might start off pretending, but by the time you watch Jeremy Kyle and 4 Hours of Antiques programmes, you are feeling genuinely ill.
Is that we like drinking, don't we, in this country? And, you know, a lot of firms, they have one day a week where you can turn up to work wearing whatever clothes you like, and they call them casual days. I think we should also have one day a week where you can turn up to work in a right old state, and they should call them smell like a badger days.
It's interesting, though, taking a day off as a man is tricky because you have to be very inventive. You have to, I've got diphtheria, I've got lurgy, I can't see, I've got blurred vision, I've got a throat. As a lady, very easy. All you have to say is, women's problems. Whoa! my apologies. Take the week off. Oh, you know, you can't do that as a bloke. I've got man problems. Well, stop touching it then.
But we're all self-employed, so there's no point us throwing sickies, is there? You know, there's no point phoning up yourself, leaving a message on your answer phone, I can't come in, then retrieving your message, realising you're ill and going to bed.
OK, John's story struck me during the week. This, you may not have seen one. It was a story in Ireland in the Evening Herald in Dublin last week. And it's quite a moving story. It's about Alzheimer's disease.
Oh.
It was, yeah. And the story basically was being a big head may be good for you. Scientists found that large-headed individuals with Alzheimer's have better memory and thinking skills than sufferers with small heads. All of which is quite interesting. You see, the next paragraph I found difficult to take. People with larger than average heads, like comedian Dara, appear to be better protected if they develop Alzheimer's disease, as studies suggest. Now, that would be all right if it wasn't for that. Like, the article actually came with a giant photograph of me next to the article, under the word "big head" can protect me against Alzheimer's. Written underneath that was "extra large : report is good news for Dara O'Brien." No, it's not. It's not good news, because I suddenly realised I've got a big head, apparently.
What do you mean you've suddenly realised?
What do you mean you suddenly realised?
Dara, protect us from the Alzheimer's.
Forget about it. In Canada, I did some modelling. It was for medical. It was for penile dysfunction. It was a before and after picture.
This is true. I get what. I didn't model. I don't model for big head things. I don't regard myself as having a large head. I don't have difficulty buying hats. I don't have difficulty getting into jumpers. My head has caused me no...
When did those three guys get here?
To be fair, a big head doesn't normally cause the owner a problem. It causes the owner's mother a problem. How do you see?
And you do look... Have you ever seen Dara?
It's smaller than my hips, for God's sake.
Your head is smaller than your hips. What kind of shape are you? You're a peanut.
Shakira's.
Of course my head is smaller than my hips.
Dara, but it's...
Is
Dara,
your
look
head
at me.
not smaller than your hips?
Dara, look at me.
Oh, you're weird. That's it.
Look at me. I'm going to take you to a hall of mirrors and show you how you should look. It's going to be
The kid from Mars.
See, look at that. It's fine.
Your head is absolutely enormous. In fact, on a normal-sized head, that would be a full head of hair.
But the good thing is...
Are you not staying in my house tonight?
When Dara opens an umbrella, it's like one of them little cocktail ones.
To put in context how big it is, Dara, it has its own gravitational field. It's pulled in an entire planet behind it. This desk was straight when we started.
I was expecting sympathy. That's why I introduced it.
What I did was I said something about... I revealed a weakness in front of 6 comedians, and I thought, there's a group that'll help me through this.
I think of you all as friends. I don't think of you as comedians.
Oh,
OK, at the end of that round. And the point's going to Russell, Ed and Andy. Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is rejected questions from this year's exams.
To keep them cool, the testes of the male Homo sapiens are on the outside. Should he put them back in his trousers?
Wayne lives 3 miles away from Kaylee, and Martin lives 6 miles away from Wayne. Who got her pregnant?
If an oil well is spilling out oil at 50,000 barrels a day, how do you stop it? Really? How do you stop it?
If you mix blue and yellow, how crap is your government?
If Mary has 1 apple, Thomas has an apple and an orange, and Tarquin has 2 apples, an orange, an ugly fruit, and 2 kumquats, whose parents read The Guardian?
Which is faster, a cheetah or Mel Gibson leaving the Mobos?
If you removed a man's lower intestine and stretched it as far as it could go, how angry would he be?
Calculate the circumference of Eamon Holmes using pi.
A
car is travelling at a constant speed of 70 miles an hour round the M25. In what imaginary universe are they in fact travelling?
Henry VIII loved the bitches. Discuss.
Chemistry. What's that smell?
Nelson lost an arm and an eye. Why didn't he call Claims Direct?
Your mum's a slag. Discuss.
The next topic is things you won't hear in a gardening programme.
If you're into naked gardening, here's a tip. Be careful what you do with the shears.
And that, folks, is how you get rid of a body.
Not only that, somebody has been sneaking into the allotment and putting topsoil on the ground. The plot thickens.
Last year, I couldn't be bothered to dig up my garden, so I phoned up Time Team and told them I'd just found a Roman coin.
And now, over to our lawnmower expert, Stumpy Jeff. Hi, guys!
See, David here has got some nice buddleia, and Jemima there, she's got some nice hydrangea, and I've got chlamydia.
Well, that's it for this week. I'm off home to plant my seeds. My wife's ovulating and I don't want to miss my slot.
Why grow flowers like this when you can steal them from a traffic black spot?
Last week, you were complaining about rabbits being rampant in your garden and being a pest. But let me tell you, I've got a rampant rabbit, and when it's in my garden, it causes nothing but joy.
Well, I've been having terrible trouble with a mole. He keeps on passing confidential information to other gardeners.
See, here we see we've got a nice rockery over there, and there's a lovely fountain we've put in, and next to that is the tree of knowledge. You will not eat from the tree of knowledge!
If your lawn suffers from patchy grass, just grow it along one side and comb it over.
And if you leave it for about 4 or 5 years, it should be just the right height to piss behind.
In a garden, it's... Who's blocking my light? Dara, could you just...
And over here is a wonderful water feature, like in Brussels, of a small boy pissing. This one's from Thailand, and I pay him 20 pence a week.
He ain't lying. It's good money.
Give it a round of applause for Russell, Ed and Andy. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Stewart Francis. Thanks for watching. See you next week. I'm Dara Green. Good night.
Well, next week you get all the best bits of Mock the Week. Same time, 10 o'clock. There's comedy tomorrow night here on BBC Two. Mighty Bush's Julian Barrett guest stars in How Not to Live Your Life at 10. And there's more right now from the proper South London geezer and his karaoke nan. It's Lee Nelson's Well Good Show on BBC Three.